All right, let's get real. Today we're diving into one of the most intense concepts in Islam, the Day of Judgment. Imagine the entire universe shutting down, the skies ripping apart, and every human being who ever lived standing in one place. That's wild, right? Dude, just think about that for a second. No countries, no governments, no celebrities, just you, me, and billions of others, all waiting to see the truth of our lives laid out. Islam describes this moment as the ultimate reality check, where every action, every word, even every thought gets accounted for. Now, here's the kicker. If everything you've ever done is recorded and played back in front of you, would you live the same way? Think of it like the biggest UFC fight ever, but this time you're in the cage against your own life choices. One of the things I've always been fascinated by is accountability, whether it's in fighting, comedy, or even just sitting across from someone on the podcast. There's this undeniable truth. Eventually, you get exposed. If you're a fighter who skipped training, it shows under the lights. If you're a comedian who didn't work on your craft, you bomb in front of a crowd. If you're running a podcast and you're not prepared, the audience can tell. That's life, man. Reality has a way of catching up with you. And when I hear about Islam's Day of Judgment, it feels like the ultimate version of that. No editing, no filters, no excuses, just raw truth. Man, I've sat across the table with fighters who knew they didn't prepare enough. You can see it in their eyes right before they step into the cage. There's this look, half fear, half regret, because deep down, they know the fight is going to reveal everything they tried to hide. Now take that, multiply it by infinity, and that's what the Day of Judgment sounds like. Every moment of your life, every choice, every time you stood up or failed to, it's all right there. No coaches, no cornermen, no distractions, just you and God. That's heavy, but it's also weirdly familiar. Because when you strip everything away, life is kind of like training camp. You can lie to yourself in the mirror, tell yourself you're doing enough, but when the bell rings, the truth comes out. In Islam, that bell is the moment the world ends. It's the realization that you can't fake your way through eternity. I think about legacy a lot. What do we leave behind? Fighters talk about belts, comedians talk about specials, podcasters talk about impact. But what if the real scoreboard isn't fame or success, but how we lived, how we treated people, whether we left behind good energy or poison? The Day of Judgment is that scoreboard. It doesn't care about titles or Instagram followers. It only cares about truth. And honestly, that hits me because we train our bodies, we sharpen our minds, but how often do we think about the soul? We'll spend hours in the gym. We'll obsess over diet, supplements, recovery. But what about preparing for the one thing that actually defines us? What if the real competition is in the octagon or on stage or on the mic, but in how we live every single day, how we talk to people, what we chase, the energy we give off to the world? That's where it gets real. Because if there is a day where all of this comes back, then the real question isn't whether we're strong, funny, or successful. The question is, did we live in a way we'd be proud to watch played back? And that's a fight no one else can train for but you. Picture this for a second. The entire system we take for granted just collapses. The sun, that giant burning ball we count on every single day, goes dark. The oceans, the thing we see as calm or majestic, start boiling over like a pot left too long on the stove. Stars, these massive bodies of fire millions of miles away, start falling, crashing into one another like sparks from a cosmic fire. The mountains, those symbols of strength and stability, they're suddenly moving, shaking, ripping out of the earth like they were never anchored in the first place. And every single human being who has ever lived, from the very first person to the very last, is gathered in one place. Barefoot, equal. No billionaires, no beggars, no kings, no fighters, no comedians, just people. That's the scene the Quran lays out for us. When the skies split apart, when the stars are scattered, when the mountains are set in motion, when mankind asks what is happening, that's not a science fiction trailer. That's not a Marvel movie. That's the description of the Day of Judgment. Now imagine the silence after all that chaos. Imagine standing there realizing you're not in control anymore. All the power, the status, the wealth you thought made you important, it's gone. The only thing you have left is who you really were, and that's when it hits you. This is the courtroom, the final one. No lawyers, no press conferences, no PR spin, just the truth of your life. The Quran says, "So whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it, and whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it." That means nothing is too small. The smile you gave someone, the time you lied, the dollar you gave in charity, the grudge you held on to, it's all there. Every detail. And there's no way to erase the tape. Then come the scales. The imagery is insane. On one side, your good deeds, on the other, the bad. And it's not symbolic, it's real. Imagine looking at that scale, praying it tips the right way. And if that isn't intense enough, there's the Pul Sirat, a bridge thinner than a hair and sharper than a sword, stretched across the hellfire. Everyone has to cross it. Some people fly across it like lightning because their deeds carried them. Others stumble, crawl, and some fall. That's not a metaphor. That's the test of reality. And before that crossing, records are handed out. Think about this. Your life in book form dropped into your hands. For some, it's given in the right hand, a sign of joy, relief, freedom. For others, it's slammed into the left hand behind their back, humiliation, regret, despair. That's when you realize you can't fake who you were. The one who created you shows you the receipts. So imagine being in that crowd, billions standing shoulder to shoulder, everyone stripped of their masks, no highlight reels, no Instagram filters, no excuses, just raw truth. And in that moment, the question isn't, did people think I was successful or did I look strong? The only question is, when everything is weighed, who are you really? That's why the Day of Judgment isn't just some distant story. It's the ultimate reality check, the moment where every action counts, every choice echoes, and there's no hiding from the truth. Here's the moment where it all hits. The turning point. You're standing there, and suddenly you realize that nothing, absolutely nothing is hidden anymore. Every thought you kept to yourself, every late night choice you thought no one saw, every shady deal, every act of kindness, every word, it's all out in the open. No private mode, no deleted history, no off the record, just pure, unfiltered truth. Dude, imagine that. Imagine every private moment of your life being projected for you to face. Would you still stand tall? Would you be proud? Or would you wish the ground would swallow you whole? And here's the wild part. It doesn't matter who you were on earth. Kings, fighters, presidents, CEOs, comedians, athletes, they're all on the same line as the janitor, the farmer, the cab driver. There's no VIP section on Judgment Day. You don't get to pull rank or flash credentials. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, described it perfectly. On that day, people will run from the very ones they love most. A man will flee from his brother, his mother, his father, his spouse, even his own children. Why? Because the weight is so overwhelming, nobody can carry anyone else's burden. Everyone is consumed with their own reality. Think about how shocking that is. On earth, family, wealth, influence, that's what people rely on. You got connections, you've got backup, but on that day, none of it matters. Your followers on social media can't save you. Your millions in the bank can't buy you a second of relief. Your entourage, your fans, your supporters, gone. It's just you. Bare, exposed, standing with your deeds. And the crazy thing, a lot of people live as if that moment's never coming. They chase clout, they cut corners, they treat others like dirt just to get ahead. But on Judgment Day, there's no deal you can cut, no loophole, no backstage pass. It's you versus your own actions. This is where the UFC analogy really lands. In a fight, you can't fake training. If you slacked off, if you skipped cardio, if you ignored your weaknesses, the fight exposes you. Judgment Day is the same, but infinitely more real. The cage is the arena of your soul. Your opponent isn't another fighter. It's your own life. And the only thing that matters in that fight is the discipline of your soul. Did you control your ego? Did you resist temptation? Did you stand up for what was right, even when it was hard? Or did you fold? Did you take shortcuts? Did you let your darker impulses win? That's the turning point. The realization that all the illusions are stripped away. Power doesn't matter. Fame doesn't matter. Family can't cover for you. Money can't bribe the judge. The only thing that stands is the truth of what you lived. And once you see that, once that reality sinks in, there's no escape, no running, no hiding, just accountability. And that's terrifying, but it's also clarifying because it forces you to see life for what it really is. Not a game, not a show, but a test. And on that day, you either walk away victorious because you trained your soul or you get exposed because you didn't. That's the fight that truly counts. Here's what I love about breaking down something like this. It's a lot like watching fight tape. You see the chaos in the cage, but when you slow it down, you realize there are a few key moves, a few fundamentals that make or break the entire fight. The Day of Judgment is the same. Strip away the massive imagery, the collapsing universe, the mountains moving, and what you're left with are some brutally clear lessons about how life actually works. The first lesson, life has accountability. You don't just get to float through this thing doing whatever you want without consequences. Every action leaves a mark. And that's not just some vague idea. It's direct. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The feet of the son of Adam shall not move from before his Lord on the day of judgment until he is asked about his life, how he spent it." That's personal. Your life isn't just time passing. It's evidence being collected. Second lesson, small actions matter. We love to think only the big highlights define us, the big wins, the big losses, the knockout moments. But Islam makes it clear that even an atom's weight of good or bad shows up. That means holding the door for someone, smiling at a stranger, being honest when it would have been easier to lie. It all counts. Just like in a fight, sometimes it's the little details, the timing of a jab, the angle of a kick that decide the outcome. Third lesson, ego, wealth, status, all illusions. We put so much energy into building this image, stacking money, gaining followers, building a name. And don't get me wrong, that stuff feels real while you're alive, but on Judgment Day, it evaporates. The belt doesn't matter, the car doesn't matter, the blue check mark doesn't matter. The only thing left standing is who you really were when all the noise is stripped away. Fourth lesson, true preparation isn't physical or material, it's spiritual discipline. This is the part that really hits home. Think about training camp. If you don't put in the work, if you skip cardio, if you blow off conditioning, the fight will expose you. There's no hiding in there. Life works the same way. If you don't live right, Judgment Day exposes you. It's the ultimate tape review. And that's the beauty of it. Islam isn't just about belief, like checking a box that says I'm religious. It's about living consciously, training yourself every day like you would for the biggest fight of your life. It's about realizing that every choice, big or small, is a rep. Every day is a round. And at the end, the truth of your training shows. That's empowering when you think about it, because it means you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware, consistent, and disciplined. The path is laid out. The question is, are you putting in the reps, or are you waiting for the fight to expose you? Here's where it gets interesting, because it's easy to think of the Day of Judgment as this far-off, almost mythical event. But when you look at the world we're living in right now, the parallels are everywhere. People already get a taste of what it feels like to be exposed. Think about social media. People are terrified of getting canceled, of their mistakes being dragged out, screenshots surfacing, old tweets being dug up, and that's just other humans holding you accountable. Imagine the ultimate cancel, not the internet, but your soul itself being exposed in front of God. No delete button, no PR team, no my account was hacked excuse, just raw truth. We live in this crazy dopamine-driven world. Fame, money, likes, views, that's the currency. People chase approval like it's oxygen. They'll do wild stuff just to go viral, even if it means losing their integrity. And here's the kicker. In the real scoreboard, the one that actually matters, none of that shows up. You can have 10 million followers, but if your character is garbage, if your heart is corrupt, you show up empty-handed on that day. The Quran says it straight. The day when wealth and children will not benefit except the one who comes to Allah with a pure heart. Think about that. All the things we obsess over, bank accounts, family reputation, legacies, none of it carries weight if the core, the heart, isn't clean. And let's be honest, we've built a culture that rewards the opposite. Look around. Corruption gets rewarded. Injustice gets covered up. People exploit others, climb ladders, and brag about winning while leaving destruction behind them. But on Judgment Day, none of that flies. You can't game the system. The filter's absolute. Only truth passes. Everything fake burns out. Here's something I think about a lot. Everyday decisions. Not the flashy ones. I'm talking about those little choices. Do you tell the truth when lying would be easier? Do you treat the waiter with respect? Do you keep your promises even when nobody's watching? Because in this world, those things might go unnoticed. But on Judgment Day, every one of them is tallied. And that makes life way more real than the fake scoreboard we've created online. People chase clout like it's a championship belt. They want likes. They want applause, they want validation. But what happens when the final scoreboard isn't Instagram followers, but how many good deeds you stacked? What happens when your highlight reel isn't your career, but your character? That's the test. And the crazy thing is, deep down, people know this. That's why even the richest celebrities, the most successful athletes, they'll tell you they still feel empty because the scoreboard they're chasing doesn't fill the soul. The Day of Judgment flips the whole script. Imagine a filter that takes your life and burns away every lie, every fake move, every inflated image. What's left? Just the truth. No blue check mark, no net worth, no fan base. just your essence, who you really were when no one was watching. That's the modern parallel. Because right now, people live like the fake scoreboard is all that matters. And the day of judgment is the reminder that one day that board gets wiped clean. The only thing that stays is you, your deeds, your heart, your truth. So when you really think about it, Judgment Day isn't just some distant event. It's the ultimate reality check. The moment that makes all this chasing, all this noise look meaningless. And if you let that sink in, it changes how you live right now. Because maybe the real flex isn't being famous, rich, or powerful. Maybe the real flex is showing up on that day with a pure heart and the life you're not afraid to see played back. Now picture the scene at its peak. Billions of people standing shoulder to shoulder, all waiting for their results. Some faces are glowing, lit up with relief and joy because they see mercy coming their way. Others are pale with terror, eyes wide, hearts pounding because they know there's nowhere left to run. That's the scariest thought, man, that all the shortcuts, all the excuses, all the little stories we tell ourselves to justify what we did, none of it works there. You can't charm your way out. You can't negotiate. You can't pretend. It's just the truth, naked and undeniable. The Quran says, "And we will set up the scales of justice for the day of resurrection, so no soul will be treated unjustly in the least." Think about that. Absolute justice. Not human justice, not some flawed courtroom where money or influence can sway the verdict. This is cosmic justice, where nothing slips through, nothing gets ignored, and nobody gets cheated. Every atom of good, every atom of evil, it's weighed with perfect balance. And here's where it gets really heavy. Imagine standing there with your entire life on display. The laughs, the lies, the fights, the betrayals, the kindness, the charity, the love, all of it stacked on scales that decide your eternity. Some people are so weighed down by regret they can barely lift their heads. Others are overwhelmed with relief because the mercy of God outweighs everything else they carried. But here's the flip that's so powerful. As terrifying as that scene sounds, Islam teaches that God's mercy is greater than his wrath. That's huge. Because it means the day of judgment isn't designed to crush you, it's designed to wake you up. Yes, the fear is real, yes, the accountability is inescapable, but the door of mercy is always wide open. Even the smallest good deed, the tiniest moment of sincerity can tip the scale. And that changes the whole mood. Because you realize it's not hopeless. It's not stacked against you. The test is fair, and the judge is merciful beyond imagination. That balances everything. Fear keeps you honest. Hope keeps you moving forward. If it was just fear, you'd be paralyzed. If it was just hope, you'd get lazy. But together, it's like the perfect tension in training, the push and the pull that makes you stronger. So when you zoom in on that moment, when the scales are set, when the bridge is in front of you, when the records are handed out, the real question isn't whether Judgment Day comes. It's guaranteed. The real question is, are you ready when it does? Did you live in a way that you'd want to see replayed? Did you stack enough good to outweigh the bad? Did you keep your heart clean enough that mercy could reach you? That's the climax, man. The realization that eternity isn't about luck or clout or shortcuts. It's about truth. And the one thing you can control right now is whether you prepare for that truth. Because when that day comes, there's no do-overs. Just you, your life, and the mercy of the one who knows it all. Look, man, I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm saying it because if this is real, and Muslims believe it absolutely is, then maybe we should rethink how we live. Think about it. If there really is a day where everything comes back, where nothing is hidden, where you're standing face to face with the truth of your own life, that changes everything. You don't want to be the guy who ignored all the signs, lived distracted, and then realized too late that the scoreboard you were chasing didn't even matter. So here's the challenge. Reflect daily. Take a few minutes at the end of each day to ask yourself, if my life got played back right now, would I be proud of it? Would I be ready to own it? That little habit could change the way you move through the world. Live consciously. Don't just run on autopilot, chasing the next dopamine hit, the next distraction, the next cheap win. Train your soul the way a fighter trains his body. Build the discipline to resist ego, temptation, and shortcuts. That's the real strength test. And chase truth, not illusions. Fame, money, likes, they all fade. The only thing that sticks is who you were when everything else falls away. Make sure that person is someone you'd want to meet on the day of judgment. Because at the end of the day, the ultimate podcast is the one where your soul speaks back to you. Don't wait until the day of judgment to hear it. Start listening now while you still have the chance to change the story. That's the real work, and it's worth everything.